All right, welcome to Stand-Up Water Cooler Talk. It's your boy Raj and your boy Fede back in the mix. So I was looking at the marketing website and it's just saying a bunch of shit we don't do. So I'm gonna go and fix all that uh,
All
to
right.
be to be within reality. We created the site, you know, with big eyes, thinking by the time we launch we would have all this crazy stuff. Um, So I will spend the time today to go over that, and then I looked into, we have currently all of our stuff is pointed to our master environment, which is our maybe it's like development or staging in the cloud, and then we also have the local development environment. The problem there is that if you are pushing to master and that updates production right away, there's no staging environment or environment that you could test out the cloud stuff. So local development's always going to be different than any kind of cloud environment. So we need to have like a um, just
Pre-prod
an
environment.
intermediary, yeah, a lockdown production environment, and then also a pre-prod environment, staging, whatever you want to call it. Now, at different organizations, you can have lots of environments. You can have your dev environment. You can have a QA environment. You can have a load testing environment. You can have um, a security testing environment. You can have a bunch of different environments. We're not going to have too many environments. We'll probably stick with local dev. We'll have master, which has the latest stuff, and then a production. And then later on, as we grow, maybe we'll have more environments like QA environment with QA and
Yeah.
stuff. But right now, QA is me, and I'll just do it in our staging environment, and then re-QA it again in production. So I went through uh, we did have a production project already, so I had to go and do the following to get started. Uh, Set up IAM for production. So I gave myself owner role for the environment. Then I got access to be able to enable APIs and stuff. So in our production environment, currently, if you go to billing.mortem.com, that's a production environment. And so we need to create a master environment also that then
Yeah.
we need to point things in different places. Same thing with Auth0. We do have a production Auth0 tenant that needs to be ripped out of master, kept in its own production environment. So we need to spin up a new environment in Vercel for master.
Okay.
Uh, Secrets management, I enabled it. I put
I
in a few
think
secrets.
in Barcel you don't need. I guess you don't need to set up a new environment. We could have like, I mean, a new tenant. You can just have like different um, secrets for different branches. So we can have
Mhm.
like for the master branch we use certain secrets.
Should we have a production branch?
We
There's a
could
lot of
have
ways
production branch, or we
yeah, there's
can
a lot of
like
ways to skin a cat.
we could use like, it would be nice if every time we push to master or we merge to master, we deploy that. And
Yeah,
when
that
we
we're
push,
not going to touch that. Yeah,
yeah, but
we're going to
that's
keep
not
master
how it is
environment doing that.
right now. Yeah, but master doesn't update automatically. It just update when we
Mm,
push a tag. So maybe it'd be nice if we push a tag, that's production. And if we
mm,
just merge to master, that should be master and should be
okay.
automatically. That way we don't need
Push
different
tag
branches. Or
to prod, push, uh, branch update goes to master. Okay. All right. So let me reiterate. Whenever you push a new commit to master, it automatically deploys it to master.
Yeah.
And then you get feedback. Eventually we'll have unit tests that run and all that sort of stuff. And then it says, was successful or not, or it automatically rolls back. Once you are happy with a particular commit, you can tag that particular commit and then it will push it to production.
Yeah, we could do that, or we could create different branches and in Vercel just point to those branches. Git, I don't know, I'm thinking. But I
The
don't
less
know how we will
branches
do
you
that
get to
on
manage is the
Cloud Run.
better. So I think I like your tag thing. So like you have your commits, you have latest is always master, unless you fucked up master, then you got to roll back, right? So it'll automatically rejects your stuff. I mean, the unit test should be running when you do the pull request, right? So the pull
Yeah.
request happens in the pre hooks or whatever. It runs the unit test. Then it goes and says passed or not. If it passes, you have the ability to merge. Otherwise, you have to fix it. And then once you do get to a good state, you can merge it. And then our tags are what let us know where we are in terms of production. Now, does it just take the latest tag that was created?
Right now, yes, I think it does.
Okay. So I think that's very similar to what Google does. Google doesn't do like a bunch of different branches. They just, have a certain point and commits that this is good, this is production. Production's always behind master, right? You do the testing, then you tag it, push it out.
Right.
I like your suggestion. We use tags for prod. We keep one branch. You might do feature branches, but when you merge back in, you don't do anything long lasting. All right, so
Yeah,
so that's our.
I'm thinking we could do that with Cloud Run for the tags because that's where we build like Docker images. But for Vercel, I think you can just choose a branch. So every time we update master, Vercel will redeploy.
Let's see. I had Vercel open here somewhere. So currently is production deployment, push to the master branch. So we might have to change that. Okay, I'll research that to see how you can do. All right, then put that as my to do. So this for the website, I mean, we could also like do it differently based off of what technology you're using, right? So maybe in billing front end, we do branches, but I don't like doing things differently for different repos.
Yeah.
Consistency is nice, otherwise you have to train people on different ways to do things. So let me research Vercel. I wanted to also ask you, or let me just go through the list and then my question is going to be ask you about order of operations, like what to do first. So I set up secret management. I uploaded some secrets. There's still some secrets to upload for like Haley bot production stuff. Um, so we're going to deploy a Slack bot to Cloud Run in production. We'll have to deploy a billing backend to production, set up load balancers. I think there's only a load balancer sitting in front of billing backend.
Yeah.
So there's just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Container registry. So I don't know if we can easily. We're gonna have to build. We'll have to build a container in production. We're not gonna copy the container from one environment, move it to another. It'll just build it from scratch.
Okay.
Okay, so
And we should create probably a new bot for master in Slack.
Can we just change the configuration of the existing one?
The existing one, I think it should stay as production, I guess. I mean,
No,
the Slack app.
Slack bot.
Yeah. Not
That
not
has to
our
stay.
backend, just the Slack application.
Yeah, the Slack application is definitely, if it's called Haley, then it's production.
Okay, so we should create a Haley master.
Okay. And I think we have a Haley master.
Yeah, that's what it's just Haley now.
Okay. And maybe we want to start deleting some of these other apps we have from former colleagues that are still there. So maybe I'll clean up. Clean up. Okay. There was also a pub sub that we were using. It was enabled, and it's been called a few times. Is that how we're doing? I don't know. What are we using pub sub for? I didn't enable it in production because I wasn't sure what it's used for.
What are we using what for? Sorry?
Pub sub.
Pub sub. What is that?
It's here. Let me open up a window. Pub sub. Share screen. Share window. We've got these pubs, these topics, container analysis notes, container analysis notes. I don't know what they're for.
Maybe they are created automatically with something else. I don't know. Container analysis notes. Can you see who created it if you click? Does it tell you? No, I have no idea what this is.
I'm gonna ignore it for now, and then we'll find out when things don't work.
Okay.
Maybe that pub sub was being used. Okay, I'm gonna say not using for now. So there are some API calls. So if I go to API services. This is where I got the list of different services. We have a bunch that are actually, we don't use at all, but they're enabled. All these down here, these are all enabled, but they don't get used. But you can see PubSub had 15 requests. I think this is in the last day. So something's generating some messages.
Maybe another
I don't know
service
what.
uses it. I don't know.
There's a container analysis API using 20. Or maybe you gotta either turn on, if you do container analysis, you have to turn on PubSub. Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know what this is used for.
Yeah, it's probably for our containers, right? But
Graphias API, critical information about your software artifacts. All right, well, I'll run into it if we need it. So, what did I do? So enable Cloud Run, serverless VPC access API. That's the second most used API that we have. Artifact registry API, cloud logging API, and secret manager. So we need to set up a Postgres.
yeah, it's called Cloud SQL. I think.
So can you explain to me this DB instance is for? Can you explain to me what these three databases are for?
No, Alice should be able to explain. I didn't do any of this, but I know we are using the last one, website DB instance. I don't know what the other two are for.
So yeah, I'm not going to create these two that we don't know.
No, maybe you can
Upload
check
a
if you are
master.
doing if you are using those. If they don't have any usage, you can safely delete.
Nope. Oh, there's connections. Something's connecting to it. Storage usage. A little bit of usage. Does Slack bot use any database?
No.
Connections for database. Okay, not sure what that's for. And then this other one, DB man. Storage usage. Also very small usage and consistent, so it's not getting updated. I'm not going to replicate these. I'm just going to replicate the one that we know for sure.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is
then we can see.
Upmortem website DB instance, which is also a bad name because this should be billing backend DB instance.
Yeah.
Website makes it sound like it's like the marketing website, which we don't host in GCP. That's on Webflow. So if we look at this guy, total storage usage, also very low usage, but we didn't put anything in there. So, all right. If I go to production, Postgres.
Maybe you can. I think there's a button to clone one. Maybe you can use that just to clone the existing.
I don't know if it lets you do it from across different projects, but let me try.
Oh.
DB instance.
Yeah, you probably can't. You're right.
No, I'll do it by hand. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the database. We have we'll have to set up all the secrets. I'm just gonna make them up. You'll have access, so you can go and fetch them if you need them. Stripe. So Stripe currently needs to get moved over to this environment.
Yeah, you're going to create a new database for production.
Yeah.
So we need to migrate everything from the existing one to production.
No, we'll just start fresh.
Okay, and yeah, I guess no one is going to sign up on these days, but if they do, they will lose everything.
It's okay. No one's using it. So
Okay.
it won't matter until, this is why I was like, we need to do this before I get the partners working on this stuff, right? Trying to sell our stuff. Because then once if we are cursed with success, we're going to have the big problem of migrating everybody's customer data into an actual
Right.
production environment. And so this has to get done first. That's why I'm doing it myself. And I'll get help from Alice, but she's still recouping from her surgery. But I think I can do this all myself. I don't need anybody's help. Maybe some help from you here and there. One thing I noticed that we need to enable two-factor auth in Auth0 for me and you.
Okay.
At least in the production environment. So I might as well do it in all, because yeah, you need to enable it for that account. So Stripe, does Stripe have different tenants that you can do?
I know you can do dev and prod. I think it's called test and prod. I don't know if you can have more than those.
We only need, if those already exist, we just need to point at the right ones. Okay, and then we're not doing anything with Plaid. And then I need to set up a service account for Cloud Run. So I'll figure out how to do that. Need to be able to get a container into Cloud Registry. So I'll figure out how to do that. And so anything that I didn't mention that you know. What about emails?
Stripe handle the emails for now.
Okay. Any text messages or any other services that I'm unaware of?
No, not that I can think. Let me check the environment. No. Slack, OpenAI. Here. Auth0. Slack, Stripe, database. Stripe.
So
Auth0.
OpenAI will have different keys. We'll take the current one will be production because we got that one approved for higher throughput already.
That's just for a key
Pinecone.
or the whole organization.
So we only have one account for OpenAI.
Yeah.
So that
But
one
we can use different keys.
we can use different keys for different environments. So we're gonna not use the current key. We're gonna take that same key and use it for production because it's been approved. Well, our whole account's been approved. They didn't ask me for which key that I wanted to bump it up. So it doesn't matter. We'll use a new key. So I'm put that on my list here, a new key. Also, I'm going to take time to look at open source models. You see a link that I sent about how GPT-4 is just getting worse with time.
Yeah, I was just checking Twitter and I saw the same tweet. It's crazy. It was like 90% worse, something like that. in
Yeah, so
some
we're not
tasks.
going to update to out of 3.5 anytime soon, but I would like to get a good open source alternative. And the Llama 2 that came out from Meta is now number one in the open source LLMs. So I asked for access to that. If so, in Hugging Face, you can like fork it, and then if you want to run your model, you can use something called like replicate. That'll give you like a API endpoint that you can hit. So I'll maybe do a POC with that once I'm done with production, fixing the marketing website. That'll be my next thing to do. So that's LLM Meta. But we'll have to look at like cost and stuff. So if putting it in replicate and running it there is expensive, then we'll stick with what we got. We can also try to host these things ourselves, but I think that'd be very expensive also because these models are very large, 65
Yeah.
gigabytes. So, and I think that's it on my end. So first thing I'm gonna do is fix the marketing website. I'm going through the whole marketing website, fixing it, and then I'm gonna go piece by piece and set up all this stuff. How about you?
I rebuild Haley with all the stuff we removed. So
Mhm.
now it has everything and it's fast. So yeah,
So
thanks
just a
Docker.
recap, a recap
Yeah.
of myself, Fede, and our other colleague, we figured out what the problem was with our slow latency, and it turned out to be the container that we were fixing, to a certain version. Maybe we weren't. We were fixing to a particular
Yeah, it was
container, but they were
Python.
updating it
No,
behind our
yeah,
back. So they were updating it. That broke it. We didn't realize that our container from underneath us had completely changed. And once we changed to a different, so this is the one thing that we should be very concerned about is can we now point, because they're going to do the same thing to the other container. They'll be updating it under our backs. Can we point to a particular version and hard code to that version?
I think now we are should be safer because before we were like pointing, I don't know, to 3.10, and
Mm-hmm.
now we are on 3.11.3. So
Mm-hmm.
that's more specific. Maybe we were pointing to 3.10 and they were like
Like latest.
updating the, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's
So
what's,
yeah, there's like you're not gonna find Stack Overflow things that are. Some people are probably running into it and they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
yeah.
Like
I feel
their
sorry for
web
them.
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I felt sorry for us because we wasted a lot of time trying to
Yeah.
figure this out. Because whenever you're debugging, the first thing you do is you point at yourself and you say, "I fucked up." Right. So what did I do wrong? And then once you've looked at everything, then you start questioning life. Is it worth it to go
Yeah.
on? Should you just kill yourself? And we were fortunate we were fortunate enough to find that it was a container that was just bad, and we didn't even get root cause, right? We just found out that the container's bad. It's not like we dove into the container to figure out this particular library. The SSL
Yeah.
library got updated. That messed up with the current
Oh,
version
and
of.
now I don't have like any SSL errors with the same library I use for get posts. I'm not using URL lib or anything. It's just request and
It's
it's
all
working.
requests, so great. So
Yeah.
we don't have to have our code base doesn't have to look like shit. That you're using different libraries in different places. So that's good. That was actually pretty stressful because I was like, man, if we can't figure this out,
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we'll get out of Cloud Run, we'll go run
Yeah,
somewhere
start
else,
over.
we'll start fresh. So that was actually a big relief that we fixed that, especially since we're very close towards getting the partners going, having to kick the tires, and if they're just like, hey man, this is unusable, we're not going to get any partners. So happy to announce that Haley is fast, and we're not running into the cold boot problem, right? Haley's thinking like that, right?
Yeah,
So
it's maybe 1 second. Yeah,
max, yeah. So before it was taking 10 plus seconds just to say thinking for not doing anything, just acknowledging that you got the request. So that's big load of stress off my shoulders. I'm sure you're feeling relieved also.
yeah,
Uh, okay, so you're working on getting all the code up to date.
yeah. I need to find a way now to to track seats, because now we are tracking
Mm.
the amount of requests just for the free tier, and now for the other tiers we need to see how many users are using the bot. So we I don't know, log the first. I don't know how I want to do it. If we want the owner to say, okay, these are the users that can use the
I
bot, or
would I,
just I
would-
don't
I
know
would
the first.
say first I would even that's something we have to do eventually, but let's focus on the install process.
Okay.
Let's make that super smooth. But yeah, we're gonna have to track who uses it. Maybe have a report of like, here are the users, this is how often they use it. Um, for the free tier, just like you have to have some analytics of who's using it, because that's the more people use it, the more likely you're gonna not gonna have churn, right? So if no one's using it, then the person, hey, I put this app out there, no one used it, I'm take canceling my
Right.
membership. So it's going to be on us if we can get like emails and like email people and like say, hey, this app is installed. Um, Here's all the cool stuff you can do with it. In fact, your company has semantic search. You can ask all sorts of questions and not look stupid, right? You can ask Haley the question as opposed to asking other people. Um, so
Yeah, we
I
could
did
do
see one.
the summarize command. Is going to be good. Also, I think we
Yeah.
should do
So,
that.
let me tell you about kind of what I think took notes on. Okay, so I shared with you the notebook. So
Yep.
you can go in there. If you change the namespace, that'll give you your own database. You can load in whichever channel, so long as you use Haley Raj, it'll start loading up all those messages. And then in the last box for running queries, you can change the queries and try different queries out.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the
So
email. Yeah, here. Semantic
yeah,
search views.
Notebook is pretty cool for doing like collaborative coding. So we got our other colleague. He's going to go in there and try to figure out the best algorithm approach to getting good results. Right now, the results suck because you can query about something that does have, like, if we have no idea, and no one in Slack's ever talked about Project Zeta that just came out, right? And then it'll start giving you results for all the other projects that, because the word project matches, right? So we need to have LLM go and see all the results. I think five is not enough. We need many more for it to go and analyze it and say, like, are these relevant? With good amount of certainty that they're relevant before you pass it on to the user.
Yeah, I think we should. So first of all, we should set the temperature to 0, and then once we find, I don't know, the top 5, and we use those to give context to answer the question, we should say if the context doesn't make any sense, just say you can't answer the question, something like that. Like
Right.
maybe that work. I don't know.
Because I almost I don't want to show things that were high hits from the Pinecone search, but that are not related.
Right, but if they are high hits and they are not related, the other ones are not going to be related, and you can have AI analyze and say, okay, I don't know, because the context
Yeah, it should,
doesn't
it should,
make
it
any
should
sense.
say, yeah, it should say like, hey, I looked at all the messages I have access to. I didn't find anything. So what I recommend to you as the user is add me to other channels. Here's some other channels that maybe have this information, and we kind of guess based off the name of the channel, public
Yeah,
channels. So we give like a good, and to add me to this channel, just tag me, and then you can add me. Like, you give next steps how to improve it. So that was the first thing, is that you're going to have a lot of queries where Slack has no idea. Okay, so we need to have that very clear, that we have a good interface saying like, hey, we didn't find any related messages. The ones that did hit, no bueno. We recommend these channels to add us to, that we can possibly get you more context, but we currently don't have access to those. That will actually push the app to all the channels, right? If you're using that feature. So that was one thing that I took away from my running queries yesterday. I did it on engineering, and I was running different queries, and I was like, this is not looking good. So that's gonna be on Eura. Eura's got to figure out, like, how do we get context of the channel, right? If you have a channel, can we get the description of the channel so we kind of have an understanding what it's about? How do we put those into either the summary or the individual messages? How do we take the fact that you're gonna
maybe instead of a summary, we could use like keywords. Maybe that's
so that was
better.
that was another thing, was it's in the document also, which is when you get you can have keywords, right, that you use as metadata or within the actual embedding that you're doing. The other thing that you can do is on the query itself, maybe the query sucks, and then you give it to the LLM to make a better query.
Right.
That generates keywords that it can know to look up. So there's a lot of things we can do to make this better. And I think it's a pretty cool project to work on. We just have to iterate and get something good, and then have like a really good working POC that's going to prove that we're going to have really good semantic search that provides a lot of value. So we're going to try. We have a testing playground in our own Slack instance. So we'll kick the tires here. We'll try all the different channels and ask queries and stuff. And the other thing that we need to do is, like, the summaries currently right now, I said summarize these messages, and it doesn't do a good job. So you need to tell it to do summarize and use names. Use the actual username, use the actual name of the user. So we might have to go and fetch that as well. We don't do anything without temporal context. Some things might matter more recently than about 2 years ago, right? So there's a bunch of stuff. I have all that stuff in the requirement spec that we have. That's gonna, I'm gonna let your deal with that as you're fixing streamlining the process. I'm doing the production network, the marketing website, and just hope he cranks out a really good algorithm for semantic search. What else? The one thing that I ran into when I was trying to add Haley Raj to the engineering channel, the back end channel. If you do like /invite at whatever, like, it's a different way of adding an app to a channel than it is a user. So how do we make it so a user, maybe it's in the welcome message, right? Like, we have to tell them exactly how to add us to a channel, because it's a little different. It's not like adding a user.
Right. I think if you try to tag Haley, so if you try to visit and it's not on the channel, it will like automatically.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had to stumble into that, right? I didn't know up front how to do it. So I want to make sure that any user that once they know that Haley exists, that they know exactly how to use it. So it's either got to be in the welcome message or the help command or whatever.
Maybe there's an API. Slack API invite bot to channel.
Also, when you're doing it within, like, let's say you're doing the semantic search, we get no good hits. There should be just like an easy button. Add here's some channels, and there's like an add button next to each channel. So you just boop, 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 and then we're proliferating within the organization. As opposed to find the channel, add yourself to the channel, that sort of thing. Maybe you don't want to join the channel. You just want to add Haley to it, let her get it, and then you can do queries based off of it.
Right. Yeah, I think there's an API to to add a bot to a channel, so maybe we can do that.
All right. Anything else? Any news? Your headache, is it better?
Yeah,
Dehydration,
it's
you got to drink water.
much better.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was yesterday was like I throw up and everything. It was just
Oh
really
no,
bad.
it's like
Yeah,
a migraine.
yeah, really, really bad.
That
I don't know what
sucks. Yeah,
happened.
I haven't had a migraine in a while, but usually it's from really bad dehydration.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was that because
Uh,
I trained in the morning and with no breakfast or anything, and yeah, that destroyed
but
me.
it's cold. It's cold in Argentina now, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but still, I was like out of breath the whole hour. Yeah,
yeah, I told you yesterday I played basketball, and so my team crushed the first two games. Like we dom first game we dominated. Second game was a little closer. Third game, since I wasn't hitting any of my shots, the guy wasn't even guarding me anymore. He was just giving me open shot. He was actually
that's
playing off of me, and I was just like, "Fuck!" I'm messing up my team because now he's clogging the middle and I'm outside. And then they had to pass it to me because I'm wide open, right? And I'm like wide open jump, and it's like brick after brick after brick, and I was just like, "Oh, I don't want to play anymore." And I did hurt my knee when I dove for the. I like fumbled the ball. My confidence was like at a low. Fumbled the ball, hit my knee, and then I was like, you know what? I'm
I'm
hurt. I'm out.
out.
I'm not gonna play through this pain. So
Yeah,
I only played for like 30 minutes, and that was also my third game. I was like really out of breath. I need to get my cardio better. But I'm not I'm not quitting. I just
don't.
quit that one day. Doesn't mean
Yeah,
I quit in the future. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna see. I'm
you
gonna
lost the
make some time
battle, not
today.
the war. Yeah,
Yeah, the war continues, which is like the war. It's not me against them. It's me against myself. Right.
yeah,
I'm trying to improve it at myself. It doesn't matter if I. Also, I need to optimize making friends because like with paddle, I'm sure you've made some friends. Same thing happens
yeah.
with,
I met some.
I need to be more friendly with my teammates and even the opposition. Just be friendly with people and make friends. Because that you're going to get way more value out of making friends than you are getting better at the sport, unless you're trying to go pro, and we're not going pro.
Yeah, it's
So
hard for me
optimize for
to
fun.
like. It's hard for me to cheer up my friend when he's playing bad and he's like
In his
playing
head.
bad because of his mind. So yeah, I need to work on that. It's not like I blame them. I'm just like it's okay, just keep trying. But I need to find the best way to like uh,
Well, that sounds like you're a good teammate.
bring them back.
Because
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever played with someone that's on your team, and then it's just like they're doing their best to make you worse. Like they're like yelling at you and I guess some people they can respond to that, like they have the mental toughness. That's what, like, Michael Jordan, he would like come down hard on his people, right? Like he's
yeah,
like, if you can't handle me as your teammate, there's no way you're gonna handle the NBA finals because the opposition is gonna be saying way worse shit to you, right? So same with Kobe, super hard on his teammates, just like putting them down, whatever. At the
yeah,
professional level, like, I get it. You're trying to get your guys ready for, battle of the NBA
yeah.
finals.
I guess it depends on the other person. For some that works. Like if you push them, they're going to play better. But for some others, you're just going to make them play worse.
Right.
It's
So
like
I get better with encouragement. If
yeah,
you yell at me and tell me that I suck or whatever, or that I kept fucking up or whatever, I'm just gonna play worse, right? So now, if you're at the professional level, you better be fucking, the kind of person that can take criticism and get better.
yeah,
Even if your own teammates talking shit, that should like make you better. But that's when you're a fucking pro, right? you're getting paid. Now
Yeah,
amateurs, fucking take it
maybe
easy on
not make you
amateurs.
better, but it can make you worse because the opponent is for sure going to trash talk you. So yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna do whatever they can to get in your head. I think I told you about the one time I was at an NBA game and then I yelled at the player and then he missed a really bad.
Nice.
That should not happen. The crowd should not be able to affect you as a
Yeah.
player. All right, so um, I'm just gonna continue. I think I'm gonna have to do like daily practice. I think I'm gonna actually have a set. Like I won't do it for volleyball because volleyball like um, I don't play. I don't play. I play once a week. I could probably try to play more often, but basketball, I'm trying to get back, and that's my main sport. And it's attached to my identity. It's like I'm guessing with you, it's like I'm a paddleball player, right? Like I fucking especially since you have training, you have a coach.
Yeah.
That's like you're serious. You have a fucking coach, right? So then you kind of tie it to your identity. And so, like, if you have a bad day at paddle, you can ruin the rest of your day.
Yeah, I left basketball a few years ago. I played basketball for like 5 years, training and everything. But yeah, then I moved to tennis. I also left tennis, and now I'm in paddle.
Have you noticed the problem isn't the sport? It's you, the
Yeah,
person that's
maybe.
going. It's just like so. There's this great book that I recommend. It's called The Inside. Um, what's it called? Let me look it up. It's in fact, I'll even put the affiliate marketing link. Hold on, let me go to Amazon. Let's see here. This is called Inside Tennis. No, the Tennis Inside. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. Okay, so this is me letting everybody know this is an affiliate link. If you buy through this, I get 2 pennies that I can rub together. So this book it just talks about most sports are very mental, right? 90%, right? So if you get to a certain level where you've trained your body to do the motion, and if you're really good at practice, like I'm good at practice, I can fucking hit my shots in practice. But in game, I'm a different person. I'm like fucking garbage. So this book just talks about like the inner game of tennis. It's not about how to hit a stroke. It's about the mental. It doesn't matter what the sport is. It doesn't matter if it's tennis. But the book just talks about uh, having the right mindset. How do you get to the right
Yeah,
mindset?
but I guess
There's
with
another
tennis,
great.
tennis it has to be like even worse because you are alone there. There's
Oh, dude, it's
there's
horrible.
no coach, no one. It's just you. They
Yeah,
are not allowed to have their coach on the bench, so that has to be frustrating. I
yeah.
watched the finals, the Wimbledon finals, this weekend, and Djokovic was
Wasn't
like,
that didn't have like some 20-year-old beat?
yeah,
Was that?
the Spanish
Yeah, it looks
Spanish
like
guy Alcaraz. Yeah, he beat Djokovic after I don't know how many years. He's been winning
only
Wimbledon
20
and
years
he
old
lost.
beating some of the greatest out there. It's crazy.
Yeah,
There was this other great book that just talked about the breath, which is like a professional secret, right? Like breath control. That's your sports book on breathing.
there's one there's one that's called Breath, the new science of a lost art. That's a good one.
Breath. Yeah, there's actually a lot of books on it now. People understand how important it is. All right. So check out that book, Fede, if you don't, or find it however you can find it. It's an
Yeah, don't
easy
worry,
read. It's a very,
I will
it's a
find.
very, find it. However, using your what's the Amazon of Argentina, Mercado or something.
Mercado Libre. Yeah, it's just a copy.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna work on marketing website. Then I'm gonna work on production, and then I'm gonna work on looking at open source LLMs.
All right. Should I work on the like tracking the users or just the flow? The
Flow.
okay.
We
Awesome.
can even if they sign up, they only pay for one seat. Let them use it, and then later on we'll crack down. We can always crack down later. At the
Okay.
beginning, we want users, some amount of paying, and then after we can start saying like, we can start actually putting restrictions. Like, first one of the day, who uses it, they get unlimited access. They only have one seat, and then after that, like, hey, you're out of seats. Talk to your admin.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right. Thanks,
Thanks,
and
Raj.
also hi, one viewer out there on Twitch.
Bye bye.